Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy's podcast, Holistic Transformation. I'm your host, Dr. Beverly, and we are in the middle of an incredible energy shifts. Let me just do a screen share so we can kind of talk about that. There we go. So we just had an Aquarius full moon, and the effects of that full moon will be lasting all this week. Hopefully you're listening to it the week of August the 11th, which is when it comes out, August 11th. The full moon was on the 9th. The energy started on the 7th. And we also have Jupiter conjunct Venus and Cancer, and that will expand our heart and awaken our mind. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So we'll talk about the full moon, we'll talk about Venus, we'll talk about okay, I already covered that. All right, so rewiring the nervous system. So the Aquarius full moon affects our nervous system. I don't know about you. During the full moon, I had monkey mind, I couldn't sleep, I had cramps in my calves. Just crazy. I literally had to get up. We're going to talk about some of the things that you can do that I had to do to help myself get through the night. So if you're feeling emotionally raw, mentally scattered, physically overstimulated, yeah, it's hitting all of us. And the full moon in Aquarius, it doesn't matter what sign you are, it affects everybody. So the things we're going to talk about tonight, the different astrological things, they don't just affect you depending on your sun sign, your moon sign, your ascendant, whatever. This is affecting the earth and everything living on the earth. Sorry, in the summertime, I have this overhead fan on and it blows the hair in my face. It makes me crazy. Hopefully it won't get any more hair in my face. Sorry about that. Okay, so planetary patterns are literally inviting us to recalibrate our nervous system and come back into harmony. So it's soul, heart, mind, and body. I always say soul, mind, and body, but with the Cancer, Jupiter, Venus conjunction in Cancer, I put the heart there because Cancer rules the heart chakra. So we're feeling this strong, actually, from the 7th through the 17th. The actual full moon was on the 9th, and this is being released on the 11th. So all this week, you're going to be feeling that energy. So Aquarius is a brilliant sign. It governs the higher mind, the nervous system, the calves, and the electrical body. So that might be why you're experiencing cramps in your calves. I had a terrible cramp. It was my calves down along the right edge, the inside edge of my foot, and my big toe was like this. So the foot's like this, and my big toe was sticking straight up until I was able to treat it and get it to calm down. So we're going to talk more about what you can do to sort that out if it happens to you. So, so we talked about the higher mind, the nervous system, the calves, and the electrical body. So during the full moon, the lunar light shines into those areas of the body, and it often stirs what's been hidden or stuck. And that's why a lot of people, they'll get lymphoma, not lymphoma, lymphatic, well, the lymph doesn't flow, lymphedema. And they'll get swollen ankles, swollen calves, even swollen feet. Sometimes people even get swollen hands. And we'll talk about what you can do about that. You'll get restless sleep. I was up almost all night of the full moon. You'll have terrible insomnia, racing thoughts. I was like wired. I was just wide awake. I literally got up and worked on my book. You'll have energetic sensitivity, especially in the limbs or the crown. You'll have a lot of things, you'll feel them coming in through your crown chakra. So in medical astrology, Aquarius also rules circulation and neural networks. So these could easily be affected at this time. So you want to support your electromagnetic field. So your heart's body's natural flow of energy and signals. So that means you may need to calm your nervous system. And we'll talk about ways you can do that. So one way is magnesium-rich foods, things like pumpkin seeds, spinach, dark chocolate, essential oils. You can get magnesium oil. It's more like a water on Amazon. It's not very expensive. Comes in a spray bottle, and then I bought this. I buy this big tall bottle, and I just top off the little spray bottle with it. And you can spray that on the bottom of your foot. I woke up in the middle of the night. Well, I started to fall asleep. I never actually got to sleep on the night of the full moon, and my calves kept cramping. And so I just literally sprayed the magnesium oil on my calf and rubbed it in, and it just immediately went away. You can use clary sage. You can use neroli. Neroli also comes as a tea. Excuse me. You can use lavender. I mean, I buy these huge bottles of lavender and keep it by my desk because I use this pretty extensively to help myself stay calm and centered and grounded. And this you can use, most people can use it without a carrier oil. You can just put it directly on your skin. Some of the places you can put it, like if you're having trouble sleeping, like the back of your neck, because it goes straight into the medulla, which is right back here, which is sort of your automatic, it's your animal nervous system. It's not part of, you don't think, there's no thinking, it's stimulus response area of the body. You can put it under your nose. Now I like to put it in the palms, and I massage the middle of the palm because that's your belly button. It represents your belly button. And that's like massaging the lavender oil into your entire body and all your organs. And you can also massage just under the pinky on the wrist crease on that side. You can massage it in there. And that's called Heart 7 or Shen Men, which is calm spirit or calm soul, calm energy. So that helps there. And then when you have it in your palms, you can go like that and just inhale. And then I like to put some under my nose so I continue to smell it. So those are some things you can do with the lavender oil. Sage, clary sage or neroli, you're going to need to use a carrier oil, or you can get neroli tea. But neroli tea, you need to make sure you drink it well in advance of going to bed so that it doesn't keep you awake. And then you can put it on your temples here. This is called Tai Yang, on the sides of your temples. I don't usually use that for helping me sleep, but it will help to calm you down. So this can really help calm the yang. That's that excess energy where you're not calm. Breath work too. So you have a vagus nerve. It goes from the brain down into the body. Vagus means wanderer. So it actually touches, there's one on each side, and goes down and touches all your organs, the lungs, your digestive system, your kidneys, everything, your heart, and it gets stuck in fight or flight mode. So when you calm it down, just and remember 4 and 6, it's your count. It's however long you want it to be. And that will, okay, I felt that. That resets your vagus nerve and gets you out of fight or flight, because you can't sleep in fight or flight. And most people get stuck in fight or flight for years. So get yourself out of that. You can use acupressure point kidney 1. So on the bottom of the foot, you have the toes, then there's kind of the ball of the foot, and then you have the rest of the foot. So just under the ball of the foot, there's like this V area. You kind of look at it. So you have the ball, the non-big toe, and then the big toe, and they kind of go like this. And right underneath that V is kidney 1. And you can massage that. So you can use the essential oils there. One of the oils I use on my patients is white flower. Magnesium oil is great on that point if you want to go to sleep without cramps. Lavender is great if you've got monkey mind. So that's another great point to massage. It grounds you. So anytime you're not grounded and you're having trouble grounding, that's a great point to use. If you can't reach it, then between the Achilles tendon and your ankle, there's another kidney point. Just massage in that area. And you can just massage both sides. You can kind of squeeze it together because there's kidney 3 on one side and kidney 60 on the other, or UB60, which is a paired channel, and you can just massage the two together if you can't reach the bottom of your foot. And it also helps calm you down. So that's nice if you're trying to go to sleep, to be grounded and calm. So Aquarius rules technology. So put your phone away early. Don't watch TV, about an hour before you want to go to bed. I have a little thing on my phone that says, hey, it's time to get ready for bed. And what that means is no more computers, no more cell phone, no more, I don't own a TV, but I sometimes watch a movie in the evening. So that means I have to, even if I'm watching a movie, I have to stop it. I'll have to finish watching it the next night because I have my cutoff time to calm down, do a meditation or whatever else I need to do before I go to bed. So think about doing that. And that's a good thing to do every day. Okay, all the time, not just now, but if you're having trouble right now, this is an even more important. And we've got Pluto in Aquarius. So for about the next 18 years, everybody's going to be going through this. So it's time to put these toxic electronics away. And we have over the next 10 years, my understanding from a number of people is we have some incredible technology coming. I've known for probably a decade about DNA memory and DNA computers. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but it's, the amount of storage you can put in one DNA. Well, when I started with computers, there was this thing called core. Probably most of you don't know what core is. And everything was 1 and 0, 1 and 0. And then came, you had hexadecimal computers, but they were mainframes that used core. And then there were ASCII computers. Some of you may know what ASCII is. Things like Atari was based on ASCII. So a lot of those early computers were based on things like ASCII. Then Apple came out and IBM came out with desktops because now we have memory. And I'm sure you've all heard of memory, computer memory. So when memory came along, it changed and we were able to have desktop computers and it changed everything. And another thing, like when I started to record this, I looked at myself. I always look at myself, make sure my hair is brushed. And I looked, I had these on. You can get these are really cheap on Amazon, these little glasses. I don't know if you can see them in my little picture, but they block the what is it, the blue light that's so toxic. It blocks that light, so it saves your eyes. And when I forget to wear them, and like sometimes I'm working on my book and I'll be writing all day long on the computer and my eyes will get really tired and I'll feel it the next day. But if I wear those glasses, my eyes don't get tired. And the next day they don't hurt. So if you wake up and your eyes feel dry or they hurt, you need to get these, like I said, they're just a couple of bucks on Amazon. And they block that light. You can also buy screen covers, but I find that sometimes some websites, the way they're done, you can't see them. So with this, I can lift it up if I have to, and then let it down again so that I can just see it and then get back to wearing my eye protectors. Okay, so we talked about that. Breath work, we talked about that. Acupressure, okay, we covered all those. So most important, okay, I think we covered that whole thing. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so let's talk about Venus conjunct Jupiter right now. Depending on the day you're watching this, Venus moves fairly quickly. It only spends a couple weeks in a sign. 2 to 3, depending on if it goes retrograde. And the day after I recorded, I think on the 12th, they're literally the exact same degrees. Okay, they're literally on top of each other. I think they were at, well, here, I have it right here. Let me look. Wrong chart. Venus, 13 degrees. Okay, so they're both at 13 degrees on August 11th. Yeah, the day I released this. So it doesn't get any more conjunct than that. They're literally off of each other. Now, maybe if you're in the other side of the earth, maybe it was the day before. Depends on where you are. In the United States, they're right on top of each other on the 11th. So that's a pretty heavy, and if it's within 3 degrees, now some people say within 10 degrees it's conjunct. I use whole houses. So when it's in the same house, it's conjunct. So 2 or 3 weeks, they're completely conjunct. So it depends on which system you use, whether you're using sidereal or Placidus. I use whole house with Western astrology, Hellenistic astrology. Not modern. So most people use modern astrology with Placidus. I use holistic astrology with whole house. And whole house is similar to sidereal, but the sidereal is based on the stars rather than the planets. So Cancer rules the heart chakra, the stomach, the breast, and the lymphatic system. And most of the time, the lymphatic system has problems where in the calves and the ankles, which are ruled by Aquarius. So it's sort of a double whammy on that lymphatic system. So with Venus and Jupiter conjunct here, we're going to be receiving huge infusions of loving, healing, nourishing energy, especially when it comes to our self-worth, ancestral healing, inner child work, emotional safety and security. And I'm a lucid dreamer, so I remember my dreams, and I keep having one dream after another where I'm traveling someplace and someone comes up to me and says, "We have a sick child, will you come and help us?" And I go and I help the child. I use some kind of shamanic healing or energy healing or whatever. And my interpretation of that kind of a dream is that inner child is me. And sometimes it'll be a little boy. For a long time, it was a little boy I was healing. And then the last time I had the dream, the night before last, it was a little girl. So I always interpret it with that kind of a dream that it's me that needs the healing. Sometimes I'll have dreams where I'm in the woods and a bear will come to me and it needs help, or it has a cub that needs help and it asks me for help, and so I go help it. Again, the bear being one of my main power animals, I'm assuming that that's me that needed the healing. So this is a perfect time for you to do that kind of work. So where were you not hugged when you were a child? When were your parents didn't have time to listen? I don't know about you, but my parents never had time to listen. They had time to yell, but they didn't have time to listen. I'd come in the house bleeding and crying, and they would tell me to leave them alone and get away and take care of myself. So I learned at an early age to take care of yourself. No one's going to help you. So I have to go back and heal that little girl. So you may not have had that horrible of a childhood, but you still, no matter how wonderful your parents were, they didn't hurt you on purpose. Even mine didn't. They had terrible childhoods too. So you can't blame your parents, but you can heal it. You can forgive them and you can heal that part of yourself that didn't get hugged. You can just give yourself a hug and say I love you, and honor who that is. You don't need to be fixed, okay? You're not broken. We all have stuff that's in our body. Our thoughts are stored in our body, they crystallize. Our emotions are stored in our body, they crystallize. It creates thickened blood vessels. It creates it creates thickened arteries. It creates veins that don't work right. It creates what I call sludge, which is your your lymph flow that doesn't flow anymore. And so you get swollen ankles and swollen feet and swollen calves and swollen whatever. Some people get swollen hands. It just happens. So just know that it happens, and we'll talk about how to clear that in a moment here. Okay, so rose or hawthorn tea helps with healing the heart. It heals, especially hawthorn. Once a year, I'll buy either a bottle of hawthorn pills or a bottle of hawthorn tincture, whatever I find on sale. Right now, I'm doing hawthorn capsules. And what that does, you take like one a day or one squirt a day. If you don't want the alcohol in a tincture, put it in hot water and let it sit for a bit. The heat will let the alcohol evaporate, then you can drink it down. Or you can just get hawthorn tea. And that helps clear your arteries, especially around your heart, so that you don't need stents. Or a friend of mine just had a heart attack and they had to take part of a vein out of her leg and put it in her heart. I said, well, be glad they didn't use a stent, because I've had several patients with stents and the stents were too small. And so they had to go back and put larger stents in. So take care of yourself now. And hawthorn tea really nourishes your vessels and your heart. So does rose, but I find it difficult to find rose tea. And not everybody that sells essential oil sells rose oil, but sometimes you can get a rose mist. That's really nice. Spray your face with a rose mist. Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful. You can use cacao to open the emotional body. Now, I always use organic, non-GMO, free trade. Free trade, or whatever they call it, means that the pickers were paid a living wage and they weren't just children that were taken advantage of to harvest the cocoa. And I made the mistake. I went on Amazon, I bought a 5-pound bag. There was so much cocoa. I ended up boxing it up and giving it away to friends. And what I kept for myself, 10 years later, I still have some left. But you can make great things with that natural cocoa. It's great for the emotional body. It's great for people like me who's very sensitive to anything electromagnetic. I can't do a lot of caffeine. So one piece of truffle, I make keto truffles out of cocoa. One of those will clean me out. So that's when I make them, when I need to be cleaned out. You can do gentle lymphatic massage. And so if you just take, you don't even have to touch yourself, but you can just rub your, see, I can feel that. You just take your hand like this. And if you want to, you can tickle. I'm too ticklish for that. But you can do that along your ankles and your legs, and it just move from from your foot upwards, up the calf. And what that does is it moves your lymph. So it will clean out all that stuck crystallized emotions and thought forms and whatever else, toxins that are stuck down there, because I call it sludge. And so just doing that massage or dry brushing. I have it's a long strap with handles on both sides. And so I can do my back with that. I think I got it in Chinatown in San Francisco when I lived there. I've had it for years, but you can buy some. I've seen them that are just a strap that I have one of those that I use when I travel, because it's so tiny, it wads up into a little ball. So you can find things, or you can get you need a back brush that's not soft. So you need one with stiff bristles. I haven't found one in years. They used to make them that way and they don't anymore. Now it's soft bristles, so I don't use it much, but I use the other things because they really scrape the body. So when you do that dry brushing, and you want to do that just before you take a bath or a shower, and it cleans off all this excess, because your skin grows in layers from the inside out, so that your skin holds all the toxins. It's how your liver It's one way your liver gets rid of toxins. So if you have any kind of skin eruptions, it's usually from your liver. psoriasis, all those things that people get on their skin, it's from the liver. So when you dry brush, it's taking that off of the outer part of the body. And it doesn't hurt and it feels really good. And you'll find if you get itchy during the day, if you start doing dry brushing, you won't be itchy during the day. So you want to eat warm, comforting, hydrating foods like soups, stews, cooked greens. Now, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere where it's hot and in the Phoenix area, it's triple digits these days. Where I live, we only occasionally have a triple digit, but like we get more rain. So it rained today, so everything cooled off. It's now down in the 70s, which is nice. So what I do is I'll use a one pot and I'll make a stew or whatever. And if you're not on a carnivore diet, so I'll cook it and then I don't eat it immediately. I let it cool down. So you can eat it while it's warm, but not cold, but not hot. In the winter, you might want it warmer, but in the summer, you can eat it cooler. So you let it cool down, drink the broth. But while it's hot, if you're not on carnivore, you can throw in some spinach. And you don't need to cook the spinach with the meat. You wait and you take it out of the one pot, and it's really hot. Put the spinach in then. And that's enough heat to cook the spinach. That's you don't need more than that. So that's one way you can get your vegetables if you're on a keto diet. And those are the two keto diets I suggest for most people. If you're a type A, you can be a vegetarian if you also eat eggs, fish, or chicken at least once a week. I've never met anyone on a vegan diet who was healthy for any length of time. You'll be healthy for a short time, but not for long. Okay, so touch is the medicine this week. So give yourself a hug. You can put your hands on your heart, you can put it on your belly, and give yourself a belly rub. You know, if you rub your belly clockwise, so up on the right, across, down on the left, across, up on the right, going in that kind of a circular motion, that really helps your lower abdomen. If you're constipated, it'll help relieve constipation. But it feels really good because that's how the energy moves. It moves, it goes through the middle part, which is your small intestine, then it goes up the right, across, just under your diaphragm, and then down on the left, and then into the middle and out. So when you do that rubbing, you're enforcing that natural energy and peristalsis, it's called, that the intestines have. That's what moves things through your belly is peristalsis. So you actually have a belly brain. So rub your belly brain and rub your heart brain. Now, heart also has its own nervous system. And the vagus nerve goes down, it touches your heart, it touches your lungs, it touches your stomach, your intestines, and it pulls you out of fight or flight. It's very important not to stay. And remember, you can massage along here with essential oil, you can do the breath, 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out, to release your vagus nerve to get you out of fight or flight. Okay. So Aquarius Cancer rewires you from the inside out. So during this time, you may get downloads, you may get visions. Cancer gives you emotional safety to feel and start remembering. So you might not be a lucid dreamer now, but during this time, you may become a lucid dreamer, at least during this period, especially this next week. So keep a dream journal. And if you have a dream, when I first started doing this, I kept a journal and a pen next to my bed with the journal open. And if I had a dream, I learned to write in the dark. And I would just get up and I would start writing. Okay, it wouldn't be pretty. It doesn't matter. Just get whatever words down or drawing you can get down in the dark. I didn't even turn on the light. So the next day I would get up and I would see what I wrote down, and then the dream would come back to me and I would start to remember it. So that's one way to start remembering your dreams is with that dream journal. And you don't need to turn on the light. I mean, if you want to, if you sleep alone, I don't recommend turning on the light. If you sleep with someone else, they might not appreciate it. So learn to write in the dark. So I was sleeping alone. Well, I had a dog. But I didn't turn on the light because if I turned on the light, I wouldn't get back to sleep. Okay, so you can go during this time from overanalysis to inner wisdom. That's the vision you will see from emotional, you're being triggered and overreacting to a heart-centered presence. So instead you go, what does this person need? Why are they acting this way? Why are they saying what they're saying? Instead of reacting to what they're saying, then you can understand where they're coming from, and then you can have a heart-centered response. And it avoids mental burnout because you're now going to be using your intuition and your inner wisdom. And in the moment, if you connect to source, you're going to understand, oh, this is what's really happening. Because we've been deluded, we've been lied to about so many things. It's time to wake up to the fact that when someone tells you a lie, you recognize it immediately. That's one of the gifts we're getting under this Aquarius Pluto and Aquarius and the Aquarian age that we're in, is knowing when we're lied to, and we've been lied to about everything. So this is a nervous system attunement. You're all getting it. You don't even have to ask for it, but if you ask for it, you might get a little bit more. Because I find that attunement comes in weak, medium, strong, and oh my God, I can't believe that one. Yeah. Sometimes I get those latter ones because I'm always asking for them. So ask and thou shalt receive. So go into a meditative state and say, I want DNA repair, I want DNA upgrade, and I want downloads that are in my highest good at this time. I do that every night before I fall asleep. But I do it also in meditation, and I sit there and I just notice what's coming through. What does it mean? When it comes through your crown chakra, it's usually, I call it a broadband download. You get a lot of information. You don't know what it is until you meditate on it. When you get it through the third eye, it's like, what do they call that? Fiber optic. It's like really fast, and you usually know what it is. It's usually one thing, and it's like, oh, it's this. Some people will see images and things. I usually just get a flash of light, and then I know what that was for. So everybody's different. Honor what you get, and just know some people just feel it. Some people hear it. Everybody's different. So whatever way you get yours, that's fine. That's okay. It's just when you get it, some ways it'll be very fast, and it's usually one topic. And when you get download, everybody gets downloads. Okay, I don't care how you get your information. Everybody gets downloads. How do you interpret it? It'll be a feeling, it'll be what you hear, what you see, or inner knowing. I have a lot of inner knowing. So everybody gets their information some way, but with the downloads, you have to meditate on it to find out what it was, or it just comes through in the moment when you start to say something and you go, whoa, where'd that come from? Yeah, it was part of the download. So that's part of our next evolution. That's what we're all, and these alignments are global. So it's happening to everybody. It's happening to the earth. So you're not the exception. You're not unique, and there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect the way you are. We all have our own journey. Everybody's astrology chart is different. Some people have similar charts, but everybody's has a unique fingerprint and a unique astrology chart. Even twins have a different astrology chart because they weren't born at exactly the same time. You can't get two bodies through that little channel at the same time. So they come out one at a time, no matter how many come out, 1, 2, 5, one at a time. So they're never exactly the same. Although I think identical twins do have the same fingerprints, but they won't have the same astrology. Okay, so what can we do to integrate all this energy? Slow down, take a nap, feel your body. The only way you can feel your body is to ground. Use kidney 1 if you have to. I have a grounding mat under my desk, so I just take my shoes off, put my bare feet on it, because I spend, when you write a book and you're using a computer to write a book, you're going to be sitting here on a computer typing, typing, typing. You need to be grounded. So that's why I have a grounding mat. breathe from your heart. I've talked about this in many of my podcasts. Learn to breathe in and out from your heart. If the more you breathe in, and when you're breathing through your heart, you're not just getting air, you're getting nourishment, you're getting everything you need. And eventually you will learn to breathe through all your chakras. Then you don't need food or water or anything else. So let the full moon light flow through you. I don't know if you went outside and saw the full moon. If you didn't go look at it. It's a beautiful moon. I like to talk to the moon, and if you listen, it answers you back. I know, okay, everything. I talk to everything and it answers me. If you haven't tried talking to it, then you have to learn how to listen. So first you talk, ask your question, and then just listen. Or if you don't have a question, you can just look at it and say, oh, you're so beautiful, I love you, and then just listen, and all kinds of stuff comes through. So let Cancer hold the space for your emotions. It's okay to have feelings. You're human. If you weren't human, you wouldn't have any feelings. So the fact that you have feelings means you're alive and in a body. And it's okay to be alive and in a body, even though life is hard. And so Cancer allows you to hold that space and just feel what you're feeling. It won't kill you. I know a lot of people like to deny their feelings. They bottle them up. They say, okay, I can't deal with this. Why? Why can't you deal with it? All you have to do is feel it. And then you move through it. And then you don't have to be stuck with it, holding in, which causes you to get sick, by the way. So let Aquarius upgrade your system without frying your circuits. I probably shouldn't tell this story, but my sister doesn't listen to my podcast. But when she was a kid. We were both kids. We were doing the dishes. And she had, those meat forks, the big, huge forks with two tines. I don't know what possessed her, but she decided to stick it in an outlet. And this was before circuit breakers. We had those, whatever you call those things, the little round. I don't remember what they call them anyway. Nobody has those. We all have circuit breakers now. You pop it. But you have to, back then we used to put a penny in until we could get a new one. So it blew it out. And luckily it had a wooden handle, so it didn't kill her. If it had been, an all metal fork, she would have killed herself. So don't let that kind of electricity surge into you, because that's what this time is like. It's like sticking a fork in the outlet. So people like me who are super, super sensitive, I can walk by electronics and they'll stop working, and then I walk back and then they'll start again. That happened when I had my big office in Chandler. I had speakers in each room, and then I had an iPod in my office that played relaxing music, and it was throughout the complex. And every time I walked one way past one of the speakers, they'd stop working. And if I walked back the other way, it turned back on. That's me around electronics. Last month I had problems with my computer. Finally, it just died. It's only like 2 years old, not even 2 years old, about a year and a half. And I couldn't get it to work. I was going to have to send it away. It was going to take 2 weeks. I had put it away. I had an old computer that I was going to give away, so I'd stripped it down. So it took me a day and a half to get it up and working. It was so slow. And I thought, oh God, I can't deal with this. So I thought, well, just take the old computer out. So I took it out and it turned on. That's me around electronics. So if you're that sensitive, be really extra careful with your energy. If you're not that sensitive, you might be that sensitive and don't know it. But I've been told if you've had near-death experiences, you get like that around electronics, and I've had 5. So it might just be because of all my NDEs that my energy is such that it just messes up everything. So this isn't a good time to ignore your nervous system or your stress. Oh, I didn't mention another thing I've used a lot of in the last 2 months, especially the last 2 months have been really, really strong energy. I use Rescue Remedy from Bach Flower Essence. I think it's like 8 different essences in one. It's really good for PTSD, stress, trauma of any kind. And the last couple of months, I don't know if you've been feeling it, but it started probably in June, July, and we're only barely into August. In August, the energy is going to get even worse. So what I'm talking about is the tip of the iceberg. The next couple of weeks until August 28th are the energy is going to go like that. It's just every day it's going to be stronger, 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 stronger. So this is what you can do to help yourself. So you're more than your mind and you're more than your emotions. You're not what you think, you're not what you feel. Sometimes there are beings who implant thoughts in us. They're not always compassionate beings. There are beings that want you emotional, so they'll do things that they know will upset you. That's why it's so important to stay grounded, come from the heart, and not allow yourself to be triggered. Probably one of the most important things I talk about all the time in my classes is don't be triggered. If you start to feel that energy coming up in yourself, stop. You have to just, count to 10, do whatever you have to do. Say, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom, or, oh, I got to take this call if you're on the phone, or whatever. Excuse yourself. I call it timeout. Take a timeout and then go back later when you're not going to be triggered and figure out how you want to deal with it. And if you feel you just can't deal with it in the moment, then I've become an expert at changing the subject. I'll just look at someone and ask them a question. Did you blah, blah, blah? Oh, now the whole subject, if you're in a group, that's the easiest, quickest way to change the subject. You turn to someone else and you say something, and now because everybody wants to talk. So when you give someone the floor by asking them a question, boom, you just change the energy. So find ways to deal with yourself when you feel you're being triggered, and use your mind over your emotions. But you're more than your mind. So if you I always tell people, stay connected to source at all times, because source will give your mind what you need to say in the moment. People sometimes say to me, wow, you said what we were thinking and no one said it. Or I never would have thought of that. Where did that come from? And I might not even remember what I said because it came through me, not from me. And it was the right thing in the moment to change the energy. So stay connected to source, stay grounded, and don't allow yourself to be triggered. And all of a sudden, you will have a completely different life. So you're the bridge between the earth and the stars. You are the bridge. You are the bridge between matter and light. You are matter. But when you connect to source, you connect to the light, you become the light, which is what we're all ascending to, becoming light bodies. And if you study the history of the earth, we actually started out as light bodies. The original earth and the original humans were light bodies. And we kept evolving to becoming more and more material and more time. Time only exists with solid matter. If there's no mass, there's no time. There's only time with mass. And mass is an illusion. It's all light. So once you see through the illusion, time goes away. That's what we're headed for. That's what's coming. So remember, your heart is the gateway to spiritual advancement. So work on the heart. The Vedas tell us to open. I think it's like 24 petals or 64. There's a lot of petals to the heart, more in the heart than anywhere else. And you want to open each petal. And sometimes it takes a lifetime to just open one petal. But the energy right now is such that we could just completely open all the petals of the heart and all our chakras. So focus on the heart, because the more of the heart you can open, the more of your whole essence opens, because each part of our body, each chakra controls a layer of our aura. So you have 7 main physical chakras, and you have 7 main layers to your body. And when you work on the heart chakra, which is the center of our, what do we call that? I don't remember. Anyway, we have this energy field that circulates like this. I sometimes forget words. Sorry, dyslexia. I get the wrong word in my head and then I can't get the right word. But anyway, okay, that's the end of today's talk. So if you got something out of it and you like it, if you could like and subscribe, that really helps the channel to grow. And if you share it, that's even better. We welcome all comments, and I respond to all comments. So if you like to get a heart, I'll give you a heart. If you want a medical astrology reading, you can go to dbmedicalastrology.com. You can learn more about me at drbeverlylawrence.com. Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy.com has my classes. Now, some of the classes have their own webpage, but you can find the links to those classes here. All for Success is free. It's a 37-day program. You get 1 bit a day. There's 30, the first 30 days are a challenge. The last 7 days are a masterclass that I taught for decades. And now I just give it all for free because I have more advanced training now. And that's what I teach. So I just give away the old stuff for free. And then I mentioned this earlier, diamondsourcelight.com. If you want to bring in the light and clear all your channels with a very simple Qigong movement that you can even do sitting down. Okay, so thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you again next week. Remember to be the light you want to see in the world.